Without further ado, let me go over a quick review of what is content marketing. And that's really the focal point of this whole webinar. As many of you may know, this is our 31st version, but essentially content marketing is, in fact, the art of listening to the wants and needs of your customers. That, by the way, is probably the most difficult part of content marketing. It's very hard to do that. Traditional ways we've done that have been the search box and maybe sending out a questionnaire or some sort of analytics analysis. But I think we're going to see some tremendous advances in the next 6 months to a year on listening to customers' wants and needs. So keep that in the back of your mind, and maybe somebody out there listening in is going to invent some new way to do that. But content marketing also, of course, is the science of delivering it to them in a compelling way. And what's most interesting about that is that there is, in fact, a very diverse portfolio out there of ways to reach our customers with great content, and it's getting bigger all the time. Podcasts and video, of course, is here, but articles and workbooks and white papers, it's a very big, a diverse portfolio you need now to effectively communicate with prospect customers. And it's, of course, catching your customers that are orbiting at high speeds. And we're doing that certainly with mobile, and we're doing that with lots of different methods these days. But the key part of it is providing information that they need, and that fits very much today with today's discussion on testimonial marketing, because I think what we're trying to do with testimonial marketing is to earn trust and turn browsers into believers and believers into buyers, and certainly hearing from peers and hearing from fellow customers is a great way to do that. Arguably the best way to do that, which we'll talk a little bit about today. It's, of course, testing campaigns, and I would love to hear today. I have a poll asking the question, are people seeing improved conversion rates from testimonials? So I'm dying for you folks on the line to all see and hear the answers to that as we talk amongst a group towards the end of the presentation. But I like saying, if you're not testing your landing pages, you're living in the dinosaur age. We're actually GWO certified consultants with Google on consulting. We've done a ton of testing both for customers and our own website, and I can tell you it's not hard to improve conversion rates with testing. It's just crazy simple. Particularly if you have a really bad site, which a lot of people do, that isn't designed well or doesn't have the right copy on it. It's really, really exciting and fun with what you can do with it. But it's also finding the most efficient path to engagement. That's really the key. And content marketing really is a process and a workflow. You know, it starts with planning, it ends with performance measurement and assessment, and there's a lot of stuff in between. So let's dive in today with some rules and guidelines that I researched about testimonial marketing. You know, as many of you may know, there were some fairly archaic FTC guidelines regarding endorsements and testimonials that had a major revamp in 2009. And the 2009, revamp was probably very much guided by some of the social media efforts happening out there. But of course, the FTC does understand that it's a self-regulated business. You know, no one is going to ever control what you write or what you say. The thought behind these rules and guidelines is, of course, is to try to provide a foundation for sponsored communication. And to enable people to have very transparent disclosures of whether there was material connection between you sponsoring something and being paid. And the bad news is there is liability, and there are cases out there. We'll talk about a couple of them today. But you can find yourself with a case opened at the FTC much faster than you can imagine, particularly if it involves advertising agencies and larger campaigns. There's a Super Bowl campaign that there was a case opened on, and all kinds of other very interesting cases. So, let's dive a little deeper here. What is an endorsement? A testimonial as defined by the FTC. So basically, as you can read this as quickly as I can, it's a verbal statement, it's a demonstration, it's a testimonial, it's a seal of an organization. Whatever it is, it's a message that is conveyed to a consumer that reflects a personal opinion, belief, or finding or experience that a product or a service is worthy of mention in describing the positive experience. So what is not an endorsement? This is kind of an interesting way to look at it. So statements by a consumer for use of a product or service without any material connection to that manufacturer, seller, or service provider. Obviously, if somebody gets paid to say something, that they're just doing it out of their own subjective personal opinions, that's probably not an endorsement. And of course, the opposite of that is statements by a spokesman of the company. If you work at Google, you probably believe in Google, and you could say that Google is the greatest search engine in the world with a footnote, I work at Google. So an important distinction in this game of trying to sort this all out. For guidelines of endorsements are very clear. There's some links in my presentation on the FTC guidelines all over the place. There's actually a slide deck you'll see in a second as well that is actually from the FTC that I think you'll find interesting on social media that my contact sent over to me, and more on that later. But what are the guidelines? It's pretty simple. Honest opinions, findings, beliefs. Then it gets a little more interesting. May not convey or express implied representation that would be deceptive in any way, right? Okay, that's getting more interesting. The guides require the disclosure of material connection, meaning did you get paid? Material connection, is sort of the key word. But this other one is very important. Disclosures must be clear and prominent. I'm going to talk about that in a second, about the gray area of prominence. What is it? What is, there's a whole gray zone here on the disclosure and its prominent nature. Language becomes quite interesting. As you're going to see, you actually can, by the guidelines, offer some spelling corrections and modifications of a statement that your customer may make. But it has to be within certain restrictions, so it can't change the impression or tone of what they were trying to say. And the other final thing and most important thing is the placement must be easily viewed and appear in a readable and noticeable font and size. In my discussions with the FTC, they actually talked a lot about the proximity of the disclosure being around where the positive statements are. In other words, a disclosure, a footnote on the bottom, or a hyperlink to another section, you're going to see that's really not going to be acceptable. So how do we define, a sponsored endorsement? Cash, free products, prizes, special assessed privileges. This is certainly what is being defined as such. Exact tone, exact word matches are one of the gray zones. The gray zones are quite interesting because I think that this is really where there's wiggle room to perhaps take testimonial marketing to the next level, or at the same time find yourself in trouble. So keep this in mind. The language is important. Endorsements need not be phrased in the exact words of the endorser unless the advertisement affirmatively so represents. For example, with quotations around the expression. If it's a quotation, it's an exact phrase. So you need to be careful about that, and that is something you should take a look at. So next, an ex-customer, a customer that's no longer a customer of yours. Well, that becomes a gray zone because according to the FTC, when the advertiser registered endorser uses the endorsed product, the endorser must have been a bona fide user. That makes sense. But additionally, the advertiser may continue run the advertisement only so long as it is a good reason to believe that the endorser remains a bona fide user of the product. So that becomes quite interesting, and I can't wait to talk with Rob and Scott about that. Should we be taking down testimonials if a customer is no longer an actual live customer? That becomes quite interesting. I like the thought of scientific evidence. If your testimonials have some connotation in them that they're a reliable scientific evidence, that could be a problem. If they're not a scientist concluding this evidence. So you have to be careful about the language within a testimonial and how far it goes to say words like proven, this cured me, I've never seen anything like it, this was a miracle. You need to be very, very careful about, the endorsement, tapping over into that scientific statement. So Richard Cleland was the gentleman I spoke with. He's at the FTC Division of Advertising Practices. Super nice guy, by the way. I can't say enough great things about him. He called me back almost immediately after me reaching out to him. He sent me a deck that I'm going to be sharing with you in a few minutes. And he went all out, and I can't say enough. But we talked a lot about his approach, which is a lot of this is common sense, right? If there's a relationship that the consumer would not expect and it would affect the value, then it should be disclosed, right? That makes sense to me. We talked a lot about bloggers because that's a big buzz right now in the marketplace. Bloggers should identify a sponsored paid endorsement in the text of the blog, not a hyperlink or a footnote, to properly and fully disclose such an endorsement and comply with the FTC guidelines. And my favorite thing that he told me was no one ever died from full disclosure, right? So, you know, I think in the end of the day, full disclosure is going to be a good, healthy thing, especially when it's a real person that is willing to make a real statement and say, yes, I was paid for this endorsement. You know, I am a sponsor, you know, of this. I was sponsored to get paid for this. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's still their name. It's still their reputation. I think that, you know, a lot of advertisers out there and are afraid that they need to hide it and somehow, you know, remove this transparency of disclosure. I think that's really a mistake. I think that it's great that you paid a customer or gave them something free to say something great about your company. But it's still their reputation on the line. It's still their testimonial. They still have to put their, you know, their name on it. So I'd like to talk to Rob about that as well. I know that a lot of his technology platform is guided towards, now you were not paid for this testimonial, you're just giving it, and that makes sense to me. But I also think that, you know, celebrities endorse products all the time. There is room for paid sponsorship, and how is that going to unfold, you know, as we move forward. So let's talk about liabilities, at least for a second. You know, what are the liabilities? You know, they're pretty great. This is a case where the FTC, you know, settled the case for $250,000. You can read about it later if you want to download this deck. But it was for Legacy Learning and their golf product. It's a really interesting case, and there's a URL link here where you can look this up on the FTC site that explains a press release about the settlement. This is an example. I want to split over it. It's actually quite interesting. It shows you, okay, a consumer buys something and they write a blog post, no problem. They buy something, and because they buy a lot of stuff, they get a free coupon, no problem. You know, but they get paid, they get solicited in a marketing network to go buy this, and then they write about it. That is a problem. So, you know, there's lots of gray areas, certainly, but that was a good example. So finally, if you want more information, there's a great upcoming webinar on May 30th that I got turned on to, so have a look at that. And there's another slide deck from the FTC that talks about some implications of social media oversight, which you can get on Idea Launch as well. So we're going to talk now more about with some of our guests. I'm going to turn the baton over to Scott in a second. But if you want to get a hold of me for any reason, here's some contact information, and we'll come back to this slide in just towards the end of the presentation. But for now, I'm going to change the presenter over to Scott. And Scott, over to you.
All right. Byron, if you can let me know whenever you can see my screen.
See it live.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. All right, thank you, Byron, very much for having us, and thank you, everybody, for taking a little time out of your day to join us. We are really excited about this topic, and we're really excited to show you also the product that we offer that really helps address a lot of the challenges that businesses face when it comes to not only getting more testimonials from happy customers, but also, as Byron was talking about, making sure to do so in a compliant manner. And so the presentation we put together for you today, how to use online reviews and testimonials to increase leads and conversion rates. Like Byron said, my name is Scott Morris. I'm with the business development team. And also on the line a little bit later, you'll hear from Robert Russo, who's actually the creator and founder of Verified Credible, which is the service that we offer. So let's just go ahead and get this started, go over what we're going to talk about. So first what we want to talk about is how the internet really leveled the playing field between businesses and consumers, and it really amplified the impact of customer testimonials. This should tie in really well with Byron's talk just about content marketing in general, about really giving the power to the consumer, and really just leveling the playing field between consumers and businesses. Next, we'll go over 3 roadblocks that we often see businesses face in getting their happy customers to write reviews, which can be a difficult thing to do. A lot of businesses have happy customers, but they're not actually getting them to say anything about them or get it to the places where they need to be. Then we'll talk a little bit about the FTC and testimonial compliance, which Byron did a great job of going over, but we'll just touch on that as well. And then we'll also give you an inside look at Verified Credible, which is the service that we offer, and how it really helps businesses overcome those roadblocks that we're going to talk about while also remaining compliant. So let's go ahead and get this started. So how did we get here? How did testimonials really become such an important aspect of marketing? Well, again, like I said, this ties in really well with the idea of just content marketing in general. Because before the internet, before people had all of these outlets, word of mouth marketing, it could really only go so far. It could only reach so many people. You know, somebody might work with a business and they'd only tell maybe 5 or 10 people about it, but there's really no way of amplifying that. And then all of a sudden, you know, the internet comes along. We have this explosion of blogs and social media, and the playing field between businesses and consumers, it's really been leveled, and everybody has a voice now, and they're not afraid to use it, whether or not they're happy with a business or a product or a service. And so outbound marketing, you know, newspaper ads, television ads, radio ads, phone book listings, etc., it's starting to lose its effect while consumer power, like you see here, is really on the rise. So today what we have is all these online review sites that give people a platform to share their opinions and their reviews about businesses. So unlike before when the internet, when outbound marketing was really dominant and buyer confidence was really in the hands of the businesses, you know, who might have the biggest advertising budget, buyer confidence has really shifted hands to the consumer. So now consumers are really helping each other make buying decisions. So essentially what happened is word of mouth that I was talking about, since the coming of the internet, before it used to only reach a small group of family and friends, you know, whoever you'd tell about it in person. Now it's able to reach thousands of people just at the click of a button, because one person can write a positive or a negative review on a review site, and immediately it's available for thousands of people to discover. So today, a majority of people read what others have to say about products and services before they actually choose which business they want to go with. So reviews and testimonials are actually one of the main decision factors when deciding whether or not someone wants to pay for a product or a service. So now testimonials are really an essential part of any marketing strategy. You see them everywhere like you see here. You see them on almost every single sales page you come across on the internet. Obviously we have all these online review sites, Google Places, Super Pages, Yahoo Local, etc. And then you also see them a lot on businesses' websites. And really all of it is a way to really build buyer confidence and social proof in a business and its products and services. So let's take a look at the numbers behind this. 57% of consumers will avoid a local business that has negative online reviews. So that's actually well over half of consumers will avoid a business with negative reviews. 49%, so just about half of consumers, are more likely to use a business that has positive reviews. So you can really see the influence that reviews have on consumers. And what I really want to call your attention to down here is 70% of consumers online trust the opinions of unknown users when making buying decisions online, which is really important because it shows that consumers trust what strangers are saying about businesses and they believe that information to be legitimate. So what I wanted to do was show you what this decision-making process actually looks like from the eye of the consumer. So what I did here is I just went to Google, I took a screenshot and typed in heating and air conditioning in Chicago. You know, just an example of someone who needed a type of service in a certain city. And obviously we have our local listings here. Well, I like to call this is it's sort of like an intelligent phone book listing because you're still given a listing of local results, but now obviously we have a number of reviews to go off of, and we have a star rating. We have things that tell us something about the business that's coming from legitimate sources. You know, it's coming from the consumer. So if I'm looking at these results and I just had typed in heating and air conditioning in Chicago, me personally, what I'd probably most likely go after is maybe the second result, because we have a 4.5 star rating, almost a perfect rating, with 22 reviews, which is a lot. You know, you look above, we got 48 reviews, which is also a lot, but it's not as good of a star rating. And you can look down, etc. But my point is, people are taking these numbers and they're taking these star ratings, and it's having a real impact on conversion rates and leads. This is just an example from search engines. So I want to show you City Search, which is one of the websites that we work with to get testimonials online. What I did is just typed in a different type of business, web design, again in Chicago. And again, you're given this listing, and you can see it's sort of obvious, but you can see the consumer's decision-making process. It's right there. It's telling you, okay, these top 3 businesses seem to be a little more legit because they have better star ratings and they have more reviews up here than, say, down here with 6 reviews. And so just by process of elimination, this #1 result is going to get more clicks because it has the most reviews with a perfect star rating. So I just wanted to show you exactly what that looks like. We work with a number of these websites, not just City Search, but Super Pages, Google Places like you saw before, etc. Now, you've seen what this looks like, but there's really a problem, because getting good online reviews, it really isn't that easy. Now, there's 3 main roadblocks that we see businesses face when they're trying to get their happy customers to write reviews. The first one is lack of motivation, because the fact is happy customers don't really have a motivation to write online reviews. Whereas obviously, as many businesses see, unhappy customers, they're much more likely to write online reviews, and that's because they have that motivation. You know, they might be angry, or they want to seek revenge on a business. Maybe they feel ripped off. They have that motivation to do something about it. Then the second roadblock is lack of effort, which ties hand in hand with lack of motivation, because when an unhappy customer has that motivation, they're going to put in the effort it takes to write an online review and get it somewhere. Because the fact is, to write an online review, it takes a certain amount of effort. You have to go online, you have to find the business's profile you want to write your review on. Sometimes you have to make your own profile, etc. There's a certain amount of steps that a lot of times happy customers aren't going to do on their own without that motivation. And then the third one is lack of awareness. And this is pretty simple. If you're not asking your customers to write online reviews, if you're not letting them know that you want them to, how would they know that you want them to? You really have to do something proactive to make your customers aware of the fact that you'd like them to write a review. Now, those are the 3 main roadblocks, and we're going to go over quickly something that Byron had also gone over, and that's the FTC. Because this is another thing that's making it harder for businesses to use online testimonials. So like you said, since 2009, the FTC adopted those stricter policies towards how businesses and advertisers could use testimonials, and they're cracking down on false testimonials and unsubstantiated claims. And the main thing is they're putting a lot of the liability on the businesses for the testimonials that they're using. So here's just a few examples. These are 4 headlines that actually I just pulled today, just running a search for FTC compliance complaints. And these are 4 examples of headlines of businesses that the FTC has been charging with using false testimonials. Up here we have one with a video game. There were employees for a public relations firm that were writing false reviews for video games on iTunes. And you can see these are just 3 other examples, but these are coming up more and more every day. You can do a quick Google search and you can find all these types of cases with the FTC. I won't go much more into that because Byron did a really good job of talking about where the FTC is with this. So one other thing that I did want to call to mind, though, is that one of the things that they're cracking down on is if you can't provide an incentive for somebody to give a testimonial unless you're fully disclosing the fact that that's what you're doing, where you're using the testimonial. So for example, I just Googled testimonial contest, and I have all these results came up from different businesses that are running contests to gather testimonials. Down here, for example, you got someone winning an iPod Nano, etc. Now, with the new FTC guidelines, you would have to be very clear that the testimonials that you're using were you gathered them in this way. So this person had the chance of winning an iPod Nano for giving this testimonial, etc. You have to be very clear about this stuff, which oftentimes it might lessen the impact of the testimonial when it's clear that it wasn't someone that actually just gave it on their own. So what does all this mean for businesses and advertisers, just putting all this together with the roadblocks and the FTC guidelines? Well, in order to start getting more customer testimonials and start using our tell-all culture to your advantage, you first have to get past those roadblocks that we talked about. So you have to motivate your customers to write reviews. You have to make it very, very easy for them to do so you can get rid of that effort roadblock. And you have to have a proactive plan in place to raise awareness about wanting online reviews. Now, once you've done that, there's even more that you have to do. You have to find a way to direct all of your testimonials that you get onto all these major review sites where they're most searched for, where they're most viewed, on super pages, Google Places, etc. And then finally, you have to be able to verify that all of those testimonials that you display are actually credible and compliant with the FTC guidelines. So you can see it's a lot to take in for business owners. It's a lot putting on them. Not only is it hard for them to get their happy customers to write reviews, but they have this other stuff they have to think about, FTC guidelines. How can they direct their customers to the right places to get their reviews in the right places? Well, that leads us to our product, which is Verified Credible, which really attacks all of this. It really knocks down those 3 roadblocks that stand in the way of happy customers. And it also really ensures that the way that you're gathering testimonials is done so in an FTC compliant manner. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is switch things over to Rob. Rob, when you're ready, I'm going to make you presenter. And he's actually going to show you Verified Credible and how it works to get past all of this stuff. So Rob, I'm going to go ahead and make you the panelist.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Again, thank you for attending the webinar. My name is Robert Russo. I'm the President and CEO of Verified Credible. Basically, what we're going to show you today is very simply put our software program that allows you to not only overcome all these roadblocks that Byron and Scott mentioned, but show you some great ways on how to increase your conversion rates, how to get good distribution for your reviews that you've collected, and then most importantly, be able to show and keep record of compliance to make sure that you're doing this in a very compliant manner in the eyes of liability. Okay, so what I'm going to do is break this down into 2 separate phases. There's a lot of things in here, so I'm not going to actually spend time today showing you every single thing. But what I'm going to do is break it down into 2 different sections. One, I'll talk about how we go about collecting reviews, what the process is, how we authenticate them. And then secondly, we'll show you how the tools and how the system can connect and provide that access of distribution throughout your social media networks, throughout your website pages, landing pages, shopping carts, etc. And the purpose of that is to increase buyer confidence that directly affects conversion rates and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is how we collect information, right? Basically, when you sign up for the Verified Credible system, it gives everybody a designated form to drive people to. Now, this is a very important part of the whole system because it's very unique in a couple different ways, and let's talk about that. The form itself is broken into 2 separate components. One is a compliance measure, and you'll see that that's attached down here below. The upper part is a way to give a testimonial in 3 different aspects, which I'll show you secondly in how we collect them and providing different ways not only to collect reviews, but also to listen to our customers and mitigate risk and complaints and issues prior to the time that they become a nasty negative review online. So let's look at the bottom, and let's talk about this because it pertains directly to compliance and FTC compliance. So you'll see that in our form, when somebody gets a request to fill out a review, it date stamps their IP address, it time stamps it to let us know when they gave the testimonial. As you know, that Scott talked before about them being a active user at the time that they gave their endorsement, and it's labeled a digital affidavit. Okay. Now, the things that are unique about these questions that we ask are very important. We get the person that submitted the review to agree, 1, that it's true and accurate, which is very important because they're basically stating that this is true and you can rely on it and it is credible, that they weren't paid in any way for this testimonial review or endorsement. So they gave it on their own free will. This other one here, the next one down, is I authorize verified credible to post this review anywhere online. Now, this is important because right now the culture of the internet is that people have to randomly come to a review site to give a proactive review, meaning it's not a proactive measure. You could be waiting a long time before someone rolls up to your Google Places profile or your City Search or your Super Pages. So what this does is it allows us to get authorization from the person that submitted the review and take that review and put it where it needs to be to improve the buyer confidence in the eyes of the brand and the prospect searcher and search engines and social media sites, etc. Now, of course, they have to agree that they've read the terms, and which I'll read in a moment, and that they've actually purchased a product from you. You know, obviously, we don't want to collect or have people say that they've done business with us and reviewed a product when they weren't really a customer. So we want them to agree to that. Now, the affidavit statement is just very, very simple. It just says, you know, this is my statements. That it's true. I'm aware that submission of this testimony will be kept on record. And you'll see that in our panel, we keep a record of every review that is collected, and it gives you a review record of the name of the person, the link that the matching email from our system, the star rating, the date-stamped IP address, the actual testimonial that they gave, and of course a timestamp and a verification stamp. So this plays in a big role in basically making sure that when we reach out, when we collect testimonials and reviews from customers, that we're getting an accurate record of that submission to make sure that, you know, hey, that we use the third-party service to get this and absolve the liability, therefore, by saying, hey, this person went on the record and we date-stamped their IP and got their name and matched their email to say that they said that this was true, right? The other part, and let me just move this over here, you'll see that at the bottom is a very important statement that says, using the system to create false and fake testimonials, reviews, or product endorsements is illegal. Testimonials submitted are the sole responsibility of the person posting them and shall not represent any liability and or viewpoints of the user requesting them. So basically it's a free will statement to say that, you know, what people write we don't necessarily have control over. Okay, now, so this is the compliance measure that helps us to make sure that all of the reviews that we collect are credible, that they're true in the eyes of the person that submitted them, and that we took a measure to verify this by date stamping their IP address and keeping a record of it. Now, on to the more fun stuff, okay? This is a unique form system that is broken down into 3 different categories. One, to write a testimonial, where you can just, this is very common on the internet, is a great company. Okay, and then of course the ability to record a video testimonial so that I can activate a webcam, give a video testimonial, and just to kind of quickly show you how that works, I can actually have my webcam blocked out, but I'll go ahead and click record a video testimonial, and actually while I'm doing that I'll go ahead and fill this out, rate it 5 stars, and then agree that it's true and accurate, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop it, save it, and then submit it. Okay, thank you for your authentic testimonial. So this is a new element that now I can watch the video testimonial given before it gets submitted to our feeds, and I can approve it. And then once I approve it, I can click Get Code, and I can get the code and put this video testimonial anywhere we want. So this plays a lot in the way of converting reviews and using video testimonials to convert and get a higher cause and effect action response on using your reviews to help sell your product. Okay, so back to the form. You know, and then of course the other element is to write a complaint. Now, anytime you create an action that you're sending out a request for a review, you're going to basically run across some people that did not have a happy experience. Now, what do you do in that case? You know, how do you mitigate that risk? What are the elements that you do to make sure that you're listening to your customers and complaints to make sure that you have the ability to change policy or make changes to maximize that effort in increasing your conversion rates based on the complaints of others. So we put in a managed complaint section that allows you to easily quick reply. It works as a customer support trouble ticket system type environment, so that now as we're reaching out and requesting testimonials from users, we can listen to the people that have problems that they would say bad things. Now, to address the people that would say bad things, we've done a couple things. We created an abusive words filter, so if they try to say that it's a scam or a fraud or whatever, what happens is it gets flagged. It shows them a screen and leads them and directs them to the right complaint portion of this form. So if they try to say something bad, they're going to get a little screen that says, your testimonial review has been denied for abusive words. Please fill out a write a complaint so that we can possibly address your issues. And so it intercepts that mitigation of risk when trying to collaboratively collect positive reviews, or the process of positive reviews. So there's the form, and this is again a unique system. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the panel and show you how we collect them. So I'm going to break it down right. Very simple is we have an email system built into the platform. Now, there's two ways that you can do this. Not everybody's going to want to upload their list, so we created a designated URL that you can use, and all you need to do is create a text link to your own branded request form. And then if you want, we can mask the URL, or you can actually just use it as a text link and launch out as many requests as you want that way. But as far as the email template, we put in a keyword-rich WYSIWYG editor so that you can actually do some real custom designs. The only pitfall on the email software program is that it's limited to 250 requests per day. As not to make this a spam device. We didn't want to make sure that people weren't using this to send spam. So you can select from a pre-selected template, or you can upload your own. And so for requesting Yelp reviews, we can actually activate a Yelp design template that basically inspires people to give more Yelp reviews. And the reason for this is that Yelp is a little more difficult in the ability of getting approved reviews for that. So what this does is it reaches out to try to find regular Yelpers that can Yelp the product, and then what it does is it links them directly to the right page. So we have a little less control over what they say on these ones, just based on the fact that Yelp is a little more difficult to get reviews on, but we do have a device that allows you to work on that. So I'm going to actually put it back to the panel. Okay, and then we upload an email list, and now there's a couple different methods to do this. We can actually upload a comma-separated CSV file into the system, or we can enter in individual email addresses if we have one on the fly and click add more if we want more, or we can sync this system to any Gmail account, Facebook, or social media account. So if I, for example, want to create a list of my Gmail order confirmation addresses, I can actually simply create a list that way, select all, or I can actually select individual emails to do, and then I can name the list. It's very simple. We'll just call this WriterAccess, for example. Click Add to List, and then what it'll do is it'll break it right down into the lists of 250, and then basically it's just like sending out mail. You click the envelope to send out the request to the consumer, and now you can use this reminder category. Once you send out a request, the little email envelope turns into a little clock, and you can work that list 3 times before it'll delete the list. So, and the purpose of that is to maximize your conversion rates of collecting reviews by making sure that Mary Jones had enough time to reasonably get an email from you and then respond to it, okay? So it's very, very simple, you know, in that way. Of course, and we also provide a profile page that feeds in your video testimonials, and you can iframe these.
Authentic and credible testimonial tips. Here, our customers can learn more about our.
Okay, so basically there is elements like that I'm going to show you some ideas and some ways that you can use these testimonials on your website pages. So we basically talked about how we collect them, how we manage them. Of course, if you want to delete any reviews or testimonials, you can click Manage Testimonials and you can delete them from your feeds. Okay. The first thing I'm going to talk about on distribution of testimonials is I'm going to start with the social media, and I'm going to actually create and show you an example of an installed application for Verified Credible. You'll see that down here we have a Facebook application, and what's unique about this is it allows you to manage and display your reviews on Facebook Business Fan Page for Timeline, and you can interface with these reviews real time. So once you've installed our application, you'll see that here it places a Verified Credible Testimonial logo on your Facebook timeline. And when you click it, basically it'll connect to your database of feeds that you've collected and have approved, and we'll show them in a very nice, efficient manner on your Facebook timeline. The cool thing about this is that it promotes viral use of these reviews. So anybody can share these reviews with the main social media networks, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. They can email the review to a friend. They can print all of them out if they want to take some time and read them, and of course they can share them pretty much with any social media network on the net. The other cool thing is they can actually write a review with the brand, your own brand, within Facebook timeline. Right within your Facebook fan page. You can drive them to give a review there. The great thing is you can also record a video testimonial like I showed you in the other form as well from within your Facebook timeline. So it makes it very easy for you to collect those video testimonials as well. Not everybody will give a video testimonial, but the ones that do will significantly affect the conversion rate on those, okay? So Facebook, we also have a Twitter application that allows you to connect to your reviews to your Twitter account. So every time somebody gets an approved positive testimonial review to your feed, it can reach out and will tweet your testimonial review with a link to the review so they can read it if they want and so forth. So it's a great way of connecting to those major social media applications and the ability to manage them real time from a centralized control panel. Okay. The other thing that you can do is it has a WordPress plugin. We talked about blogging. We talked about, well, how can we get our reviews on our blogs and our sites to increase buyer confidence? And it's simply done by using our plugin, and now we can use this device to showcase those reviews within our content, within our WordPress blog, and that gives great weight to support conversion rate. Okay. I'm going to show you some cool other ways that you can do it is what we call pop-up codes. You're going to love this because this is really a unique thing in that let's start with the video one, and then I'll show you the regular one because the video one's really exciting. We have a utility that you can create your own graphic. You can put in your own video embed code for a YouTube video or a video that you've uploaded or you have an embed code for. You can put in a checkout URL. You can put in an affiliate tracking pixel in it. And then what this utility does is it generates down here an image with a script code, and now you can actually pop up a video testimonial or a video with a buy now button and sharing features. So now I can actually monetize and create a way for our video testimonials and or commercial videos to use on our website pages, landing pages, and blogs. And not only that, the ability for them to actually click buy now and buy the product, right? And that's a key element because, you know, we don't do enough in the way of using those measures of conversion to create that action response that we're looking for. And then also, again, we can share the video itself and share with social media networks, and of course, we can email the video to a friend. So it focuses a lot on viral aspects of sharing these reviews to get a better distribution on a viral aspect of testimonial marketing. Okay. Now, this same utility works very simple for the regular pop-up. You can use any one of, you can use your own graphic, or you can actually select from a group of graphics that we have pre-installed as seals that you can use to pop up testimonials. And it's not really a pop-up, it's what we call a JavaScript face box, right? So you'll see here I created a graphic here called Verified Testimonial, and then you'll see a script for it. And then when you click it, it will literally pop up all your reviews and testimonials with those sharing features and your star rating that you can basically place anywhere. So all you need to do is just script in this code, create your own custom graphic, check out our testimonials, etc., and you can click it, and then there it is. It'll connect to your feeds and display them that way. We have an iPad device called Testimonial Tablet. Now, this works with any tablet device so that you can, for brick and mortar locations, you can just hand them while they're in your service brick and mortar place of business. They can easily collect a review simply by using the touch interface of our, what we call a testimonial tablet. And of course, we can brand these to look just like your brand. In a case, let me see if I can find an example. Here's an example of a branded testimonial tablet for Plaza Honda. So that then they use this right at the place of business to either collect reviews and get them verified right there on the spot, which makes a great way to collect reviews for brick and mortar business. I'm going to go back, and so the pop-up, we have regular straight feeds where you can feed the reviews into anywhere online, your sites, your landing pages, your profile page, and you'll see here is what they call a profile page feed, a full page feed, and a three-quarter page feed. So a full page feed is you can feed it right into a website very similar to this, so that you can display your reviews without branding into any interface for your site to connect to them real time. So as people give these reviews, they update your feeds as required and as you wish. Okay. So that makes a great way to connect. On the profile page feed, you can actually feed in a profile page. So now you don't even need to put them on your website if you don't want. You can actually feed in a profile page, right? And you'll see, I'm going to stop this and show you that you can manage and edit all of this from here, okay? And if you don't want all of this, you can actually click show and hide, and you can deactivate any of it. And so what it allows you to feed this into your website branding, to your website pages, create a page and drive it in there for, with your own branding, your own look and feel. Play the video testimonials. It's very easy to do that as well. So it's very, very efficient in being able to do that. Now, so I basically showed you all of the major things that I'd like to show you for that. And let's talk about where they go, right? Now, let's go to Google and let's talk about for a moment. I'm going to type in one that we've done. And you'll notice that the reasoning behind this is that right now, as a matter of culture, everybody basically goes to Google to search and research products, and that buyer confidence that Scott and Byron were talking about has a great impact on users and click-through rate and the ability for you to maintain a solid conversion against your competitors. A lot of times when somebody types in a geo-targeted phrase after a search term, the Google Maps brings up a mashup of not only your reviews but your competitors. And of course, so now in the eyes of the prospect searcher, they're being asked to choose on that local search term. So basically, instead of waiting for a consumer to come along to write a review, hoping that it's going to be a positive review. What we do with Verified Credible is once you've gotten approved records and we see that they've been date stamped and you have in a review and we have their authorization, we basically take these reviews and we post them on behalf of the client to the Google reviews, okay? And we post them to all the major review sites online. Basically, any review site we can post to that does not require you to pay for a consumer to write a review. So we don't do Angie's List because they charge a fee to do that. But we can do pretty much any industry. We can do automotive, we can do healthcare, we can do basic, Urban Spoon and several other things that are relevant to your industry. And so basically in a nutshell, in closing, that this system, simply put, provides a proactive measure for you to easily collect, to reach out, to survey, to collect, to authenticate, to distribute, and build buyer for the sole purposes of building buyer confidence, to make sure that you're compliant in an FTC compliance measure, to provide access to all aspects of online integration, whether it be social media, whether it be landing pages, shopping carts, or basically any device to connect to that allow you to build on that buyer confidence and the brand recognition and the credibility of the brand. By collecting real customer testimonials from real people and getting them to say that it was real and get their date-stamped information is priceless in making sure that, not only are we being compliant, but we're doing everything that we can to be proactive rather than waiting and hoping that somebody comes along and writes a good review for us. So there's a couple more. What I want to do also is explain that there's a video tutorial. So some of the things that I showed you may seem complicated, but we do provide a video tutorial for every aspect of the system to show you how to operate and use it. And simply put, it's very, very easy to use. So I'm going to give it back to Scott, and Scott's going to basically close it up and kind of give you some more information on how you can get Verified Credible, and we have a special offer for you today, and then we'll go ahead and wrap that up. So I'm going to turn this back to Scott.
All right, I'll wrap this up very quick because I know there's some questions coming in.
Okay, so let's go here. And Scott?
Yep, let me know when you can see.
Okay, I can see your screen.
All right, great. Thanks, Rob. Very, very quickly, I want to wrap this up so we can get to any questions you have. We do have a very special deal for anyone on the webinar if you are interested in Verified Credible. The list price for the main service that gets the reviews posted on all the review sites where they need to go is $99.99. Anyone who's on this webinar right now will be getting a 15% discount on that. It's $84.99 a month, and that's for as long as you use the service. So as long as you're using Verified Credible, you get it for that 15% off. And then for our other service levels, all of them are 15% off. So if you choose any of the other ones, you'll also get it for 15% off. And to do that, all you have to do, one more thing I want to say, that will last for 72 hours. So for the next 72 hours, if you want to think about it, you have that much time until you can use our code and get the 15% off. And so to do that, just go to verifiedcredible.com. You'll see a pricing tab on the top. Select the service level that you'd like, and then the coupon code that we created, if you want to write this down, is WriterAccess. So just go ahead and write that down, and then you can go to verifiedcredible.com to sign up. You'll just have to enter that WriterAccess coupon code, and then you can hit recalculate, and it'll go ahead and recalculate the price for you. So that's all I got for you. Byron, I'll go ahead and pass things off to you. I know there's some questions coming in that we can tackle, so I'll go ahead and make you the presenter again.
Super.
All right.
So really great presentation. Hats off. From the moment I met Rob and another one of his sales reps, a guy named Travis, and just heard the mesmerizing voice of Rob go through the presentation of his product. And I just said, okay, gathering testimonials was a pain point for me. You know, there's got to be an easier way to do this, and not only have these guys figured it out, but it's an incredible product. We're about to launch ours now, actually, and I really like what these guys are doing, so hats off. But we have some great questions that came in, and I just want to I'm going to pop up a poll as well, because I'm really curious to see what the answers might be, and I'll read some results. I just popped up a poll. Hopefully people can see that now, because okay, so 71. So I'll tell you how the data comes through. Can you guys actually see the data? Can everybody see? 43% of the people that have responded so far. There's 50-50 now. The question was, does your company currently feature testimonials on the site and the homepage and prominent pages? I think that was the full question. And surprisingly, 53% no. So that's quite interesting. So that's still running. So while that's running, let me go to some of these questions, and then we'll pop up another one. I'll tell you what the results are in a second. So let's see. Are you able to pick and choose which reviews you want to post? Who wants to take that? Scott or Rob?
Rob, you want to take that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, let's tell you that we don't post negative reviews. So if it's below a 3-star rating, it does not qualify to be posted. Unless, of course, it's some clients, it may seem odd, but some clients actually have us post the middle one, the 3-star rating sometimes, to kind of give it a more natural effect. But the answer is yes. You have full control in the back office panel of your verified credible system for what reviews are to be posted. You can delete any ones that you don't want. So if somebody writes something bad, you can easily delete it just by clicking Manage Testimonials, and you can click Remove the testimonial from your feed altogether. So and before we post, we have a protocol that we use to make sure that, you know, we have authorization by the customer to post those reviews that we wish to post.
Got it. Okay. Let's go to another question here real quick, because there were some really good ones that came in. Mm-hmm. And let's see. Okay. Okay. Can we place the actual testimonial content on our website for SEO, or does it have to be in the iframe?
Okay.
Rob, that's another tech question.
Sure, no problem at all. The answer is you can use the testimonial in any fashion that you want, as long, you know, obviously once you have a record of it in your verified credible system and with a date-stamped IP address and a matching authentication form, you could just use that text for that testimonial in the graphic of your web page, or the graphic, you know, you can use it anywhere you want. And if you want to use our verified credible seal next to it, you can do that. If you don't want to, that's okay. But it may be a good idea to put something there, because, you know, that's when you go and you run into issues whether or not the Federal Trade Commission will look at your web page, look at your endorsement or your claim for endorsement that could, you know, arise issues in the future. So the answer is yes, you can use them in any fashion that you want, so long as you have that record, and that the text of the testimonial has to match identically to the record.
Rob, one of your customers / clients actually owns the testimonial, isn't that correct?
Yes, they do.
Of course. I just wanted to make clear. Another question was, can you download all of your data into Excel?
Well, right now you can, yes, absolutely. You can download your email list, but your testimonials right now we only have a print version of it, but we can certainly accommodate that. That's not an issue. We'll make an update to that. And, yeah, if they wanted to download the testimonials themselves into an Excel, is that what you're saying?
Probably that's what she means.
Right.
You know, if she goes out and collects, 500 testimonials, it would be a pain in the neck to one-up those or recreate those from a Word doc, so she may want to export them, particularly if they're going to use them in a creative way or a different way? Or they're going to?
Oh, right. There's a print feature also, so they can print them out in a PDF format, as well. But I think that's a good point on the Excel thing. We'll add that and include that, and we'll get that done right away.
That kind of relates to the SEO question as well, because interestingly enough, Life Tips, one of our properties that we own at Idea Launch, has about 120,000 tips on it. And I spilled some wine on a carpet and did a search at Google, and I was so excited to have the Life Tips site pop up. And I was analyzing, well, why did this tip pop up? What's so special about Google giving this like a #1 listing? And the answer was we had like 9 comments about that tip actually working, and they were published in Google. And honestly, I have no idea how that happens. I thought I'd mention that to you. So Google's picking those up, and in an iframe, Google will not pick those testimonials up. Mind you, in this case, it was an actual tip that had comments, reader comments below the tip. So Google is looking for that correlation of give me an answer to someone's problem and give me some testimonials that is a good answer.
Right. From an SEO perspective, let me just say this, right? On the review site level, the inclusion of new content and new reviews to the review sites online helps improve ranking naturally from a basic new content inclusion factor. Right? As it pertains to using a review or a testimonial on your website that you've naturally done and that you didn't use our feeds to, would provide the same effect, basically, if you continuously kept posting more. That new content inclusion SEO factor is really one of the things that also helps drive up ranking,
Right. And again, an export into Excel of all your testimonials and then scattering the testimonials amongst your product pages randomly one by one, it's a great SEO play. You own the content of your testimonial, get fresh, unique content on each of your key product pages, just one of the testimonials linking over to your main testimonial page. That's just an SEO winner right there, folks. Like that, it doesn't get any better than that. So, and I would argue that would help. Okay, another question. If we canceled our account, what would happen to our reviews?
Okay, all the reviews belong to you. Any reviews that we've posted to the internet belong to you. And if you cancel your account, you still be able to have all the reviews and they can be delivered to you. The only thing that you cannot do is use our feeds, our software platform feeds for Facebook applications and Twitter Connect applications and feeds that you would use to feed in these testimonials into your website pages and landing pages, etc. So
the feed would still exist as it's the wrong word, but the feed that's been fed would remain fed. But just future feeds would stop, just so everyone's clear on that. Isn't that right, Rob?
Right. Right, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, for example, one of Rob's features has this iframe we just spoke about that posts on your website, right? So if you've implemented that and you cancel the service, then that iframe would come down. Correct, Rob?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, but you could replace that iframe with your own actual page, etc. But
with testimonials that you've collected, right?
Got it. Okay, now what about a Yelp page or a Facebook page once you took your technology platform down? Is that a plugin? Is that an iframe inside Facebook as well?
Well, no. Actually, the Facebook is an actual application that connects to our verified credible feed. So if the feed didn't exist and you canceled the program, the Facebook application would need to be uninstalled.
And it would be done on Facebook. So you take down that link to the testimonials on Facebook. Got it.
Right,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Can I view this webinar online later? Yes. All of our Idea Launch webinars are live, and Rob may have this webinar live on his website as well, so thanks for that. You'll be able to see that. Can we opt out at any time later after we have signed up for the service? Of course. Someone want to take that? Can we opt out at any time later after we have signed up for the service? Of course.
The answer is yes. You can opt out there's no long-term contracts. It's a month-to-month type thing. But we're pretty confident that once you use Verified Credible and you start building up testimonials and reviews and collecting them and then using them to build buyer confidence, you'll most likely not want to cancel. So, but yes, you can cancel at any time prior to the next billing date. There's no penalty, and there's no long-term contract.
Awesome. And let's see, another great question. How is it possible that you can place reviews on Google Places? It would require a new account and telephone verification.
That is a proprietary question. I cannot tell you that. We have a process that we're able to do this, and the way that we do it is completely legitimate. And keeping in mind that we are doing it with the authorization and approval of the person that submitted it.
Got it. You'd have to kill him if you really can't kill him if you told him because you're not there. So. Doesn't work. But proprietary stuff is good. Okay, what is the average company revenue that uses this service?
It can range anywhere from your mom and pop sub shop all the way up to a Fortune 100 company that can use this to build buyer confidence. And basically the program is designated and designed for anybody that is doing business online. If doing business online and user reviews affect your business online, then basically you qualify.
Rob, you're going to love this next question because it's related to some discussions we've had, but do you offer some sort of reporting or sentiment analysis? For example, 50% of the people are happy with customer service, 30% are happy with X, 20% Y. You get the idea.
Okay, to answer that question, simply put, no, this is not a survey tool. This is an endorsement tool. And there's a huge difference. One, when you survey a customer, yes, we're looking for key components to survey a customer, at least not in this version, but we wanted to not lose track of the focus of this and to build buyer confidence. Simply put, we're after endorsements, not really, to qualify a survey is something that we would use to collect data to improve a service or to improve something of that nature. But again, the main focus for this is to improve buyer confidence and to improve conversion rate data based on customer reviews.
Yep. You can see, thanks for asking that last question. That was a really good one. And that's what I've been begging Rob to get involved with as well, right? How can we use this incredible technology platform to, A, make the customer feel like we care about them, which is, I think this is the play here. It's like we care about you, your business, your thoughts. And you're like you're right on the tip of the iceberg at that moment that you're asking your customer their opinions to gather some data. What didn't we do right? Da-da-da-da. So anyway, the last question offer and I will have to huddle together and figure out how to talk Rob into making that happen. All right, so are you able to pick and choose which reviews you want to post? I think we answered that one. We did. Do you have a list of references? Okay, looks like somebody's, let me see. Do you have a list of references? That's interesting. I think they're asking you that. My guess is, of course, they do, but that's another
we have a group of assigned case studies that we've done with clients that have authorized us the right to be able to show their information and the case study. And with the way that we do that and operate that is very, very simple. We take a screenshot before we begin. The customer collects the reviews and testimonials, and then we post them and prove the star rating, and then we take another screenshot. So, we do offer a trial. If somebody wants to try the product, they're perfectly willing. We're willing to allow them to do that. Which you can go to our site, and on our site there is a trial. And then, but if somebody wants to get references, they can certainly contact us, and we can make arrangements to give them some references.
Sure. Yep. It's interesting because when I first read that question, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a really interesting question. You're once again right at the tip of the iceberg of providing that reference from somebody that loves your product, right? So you directed that question to you, do we have references? But that's kind of what your whole technology platform is. Like, references are testimonials, like, not only do I have one reference that you can call that's like my best friend that I send all my referrals to, how about 500 references on my website from people that have provided testimonials saying they love our product and service? And, Rob and his team recognize this problem all along. Customers don't want to be bothered with selling your services. They're not paid to do that. So when you have to manually give a phone number of a customer that used your service, you're in trouble, man. Your product is going to go nowhere fast if you have to rely upon one-up testimonial phone calls, not to, I know it's important if you're selling like a $100,000 deal or something, but I think that it's a good question. So the question that I would ask Rob is, it's not only will you give a written testimonial, but would you back that up with a video testimonial? Could you do a video testimonial? I mean, there's a recommendation, there's a reference right there, right? A live video testimonial. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting case in point. Here's another great question.
Absolutely. I stand behind my product. I think that the product speaks for itself. I think that once you use the product, it will, you can see a real tangible result, and that tangible result is parlayed by seeing the real tangible result in the search engines and your star ratings overall. I mean, no one could question that it's a great program if it improves your star ratings, because if it improves your star ratings, you've improved buyer confidence.
Is there a limit to the number of brand I can use with my account? Can I use it for multiple websites?
One account, one brand. So the answer is it's only geared and designated for one brand and one per account. However, if you have multiple brands, please call us and we can give you a deal.
Great. I'm going to put one more quick poll question up. 53% of the people, I just launched this real quick, 53% of the people that I surveyed are currently running testimonials. I just put up another really quick question, and I'll read you to the data while we're closing out here. If you can, if the people that are still on the line want to answer this really important question, have you seen an increase in conversion rate from running testimonials? So while people are taking a quick look at that, they're coming in 100% yes, 100% yes so far. I got some good votes. No one has said no yet, by the way, so if there's any no's out there, say one no. But so far, everyone has seen a lift and an improvement of conversion rates. That's pretty cool. Wow. I'm still challenging somebody to say a no, but no one's saying no. So everyone that's answering this is saying yes. But we're a couple minutes, wow, we're 15 minutes over time here. But hats off. I think we're probably going to disconnect in a second. Scott and Rob, thank you so much for being on the webinar series today.
Yeah, thank you, Byron.
And thank you for having us, and thank you, everybody, for attending the webinar, and we appreciate your time.
Terrific. And as a final closer here, for anybody that signs up for Rob's service, I believe in it so much, I'll happily toss in a $50 cash bonus on top of any additional deposit you make for anybody that uses that WriterAccess promo and login. And I'll send that to an email with everybody with my happy, positive endorsement of the fine product that Rob and Scott have here. It really is cool, and we're actually going to use it over at WriterAccess, our marketplace for connecting writers and customers. So really hats off, and we'll have further follow-up on how that's working over there and how it rolls out. Thanks, everybody, for listening in. Thanks again, Rob and Scott. We'll see you next month. Right on. See you next month, everybody, for another for the 30-second content marketing webinar series. Look forward to the next. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Talk to you. Bye-bye.